I'd like to call the March 2nd, 2020 St. Clair Shore City Council to order. Mary, please call the roll.
Mayor Walby.
Here.
Councilmember Aisha.
Here.
Councilmember Frederick.
Present.
Councilmember Rusi.
Present.
Councilmember Vitale.
Here.
Councilmembers Kieran and Rubino asked to be excused.
Move to excuse.
Support.
Moved by Councilwoman Rusi, supported by Councilman Frederick to excuse Councilman Karen and Councilman Rubino. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2 is proclamations and presentations. We have 2 proclamations and 1 presentations. The first one is for the 2020 census, and I know it says Marilyn Sanders, but we got our able, I think, replacements here. So we got actually Vicki McCullen in the back there, and then Kimberly Grefka.
That's right.
From the census, and they're going to kind of do a little overview. And if we have questions up here, she'll entertain any questions. So, Kim, why don't you start it off? So thanks for coming. We appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yep.
The census would like to thank you for inviting us out today. Mrs. Marilyn Sanders wasn't able to make it, but she sent us to answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to give a little presentation, and then if the panel would like to ask any questions afterwards, you're more than welcome to.
Great.
Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our community partnership and engagement program. But first, this is Mrs. Marilyn Sanders, who really wished she could be here today, but sent myself and Vicki here as her replacements. She wanted us to share her goal, and our goal as the census, is to count everyone once, only once, and in the right place. So we are from the Chicago region. There are 8 states, you can see them here, that make up the Chicago region. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask myself or Vicki, but if we're not able to answer them, go ahead and email Mrs. Sanders. Her email's up there, marilyn.a.sanders@census.gov. All right, so why do we conduct a census? It's in the Constitution. Article 1, Section 2 requires a head count every 10 years. So I'd like to have you think about that for a second. 10 years. The decisions that we make this year are going to affect our nation for the next 10 years. So that means a child who is in kindergarten now is going to have to live with those decisions up until high school. All 50 states are included: Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., and the island areas. We include all ages, races, ethnic groups, and citizens and non-citizens alike. Okay. So two very important tasks is that we are determining legislative representation through apportionment. So the results of the census determine our representation in Congress. Very, very important. Also, $675 billion is at stake annually. Comes up to over $1 trillion over the course of 10 years. So our current environment is constantly changing. We have this rapid use of technology. We have very complex living situations. We have a diverse population, and we have declining response rates. So it's really up to us and you as a community to get others out there and encourage them to respond. Go ahead. So we've re-engineered our field operations this year to incorporate streamlined staffing structure, as well as we've increased our use of technology. And through that, we've been able to streamline our work systems, and we've become more productive. Cybersecurity, very important. I have some literature that I've left that you can go ahead and pick up on the way out. It talks a lot about security and the steps that we've taken to make sure that this is a safe and secure census. We have federal partnerships in order to determine if there's any threat and detect it right away. We have a communication plan put in place. So if there were any threats that occurred, we have proactive steps that we will take in order to mitigate. We have industry solutions and services that we provided, as well as an incident response plan in order to manage any of those security breaches. So the goal of our partnership program is to engage and educate, but right now we're encouraging everybody. We're in the motivation phase. Census is coming. Postcards are coming in the mail. They're addressed and ready to be delivered. They're going to be in the mailboxes on March 12th, right around the corner. So our partnerships include tribal governments, state governments, municipalities. We also have community organizations, nonprofit organizations, faith-based institutions. We have our schools and colleges on board. And then we have local businesses that we're reaching out to. Go ahead. Okay, so hard to count demographics. These are the areas that are largely not represented. So we have our children under 5 years old. Last census, 2010, it's estimated that 1 million children were undercounted. We have college students, farm workers who are also hard to count, homeless, immigrants. We have the language constrained. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Millennials, minorities, people living in poverty, people with disabilities, refugees, those who are renting. We have snowbirds who are down in Florida right now, senior citizens, veterans, and then also those college-age students are really difficult to count. So many different tools we use, mapping tools at the census. One that I would like to highlight is the low response score map called Rome. This is a picture of Rome. Rome tells us what the response rates are in your community. You can go ahead and. So here you see it has minimized all the way into an address. So we could use this address as an example. And we could find out the low response score for this address. In the example, you see 19%. That's considered pretty high. We want to keep those below 20, really below 15. Okay, go ahead. So working together on the 2020 census, our mission is to be a team. It really does take a team. You're only as good as those who put you in the game to mobilize a plan. Just like a football team, where everyone has to know their role, these plans are help us to truly function as a team. So our ultimate goal is to count everyone once, only once, and in the right place in our entire 8-state region, including Michigan and including St. Clair Shores. That is a message from Mrs. Sanders. A couple of resources on the next slide. We have our census.gov/2020 census. We also have our census jobs down there at the bottom. Census is hiring, and we're going to continue to hire. So please tell your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, your friends, 2020 census.gov/jobs. There's field jobs available and more. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Thank you very much for your partnership. I said that I was going to talk a little bit about, what did I say? I was going to talk a little bit about our flyers that are out there. Oh, I was going to take some questions from the panel. Do you have any questions?
Questions here? Mr. Vitale?
Excuse me just a second here, I'm getting my microphone. More of a comment here about this. I very clearly remember being here for the 2010 census. Of course, I was on the other side of the dais back then. Mm-hmm. And how we, St. Clair Shores, missed 60,000 in population by just like 200 residents or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's very important that we get those numbers. I see Facebook postings and things like that all the time about, well, why can't we get a Trader Joe's, or why can't we get this and that? And guess what those companies look at? They look at census data.
Absolutely.
They need to see the population is here. Mm-hmm. And it is also a very important point you made about representation at the state level and at the national level. I do not want to see our city lose population. I would really, if I could do anything, I mean, some of these developments that we've voted on, I've voted favorably for, because I want to get 200 more residents to get us up over 60,000. I think that's
Absolutely.
very important benchmark. And that actually does bring to mind something I had a question about. Will there be a special outreach by the census to both, I'm trying to think of the correct terminology here, assisted living seniors and also long-term care? Because we have two new facilities in the city.
Absolutely. We have a special operation called home quarters, and that is where those are counted without the citizens having to respond. So
Okay.
they'll be counted as an entity.
Okay. We, actually, one of those centers that we have, it's the former, I cannot think of the name of it, but it's now known as Heartland, Georgian Inn. It's the former Georgian Inn. And they have an address that's in St. Clair Shores. We respond to them for emergencies, but they call themselves Grosse Pointe.
So you could pull them up on the Rome
So who
map.
gets, I guess I'm wondering who's going to get the credit for those people, because, you know, it's probably 100 people in there.
Right, right. So on the Rome map, everything is divided down to census tracts. So you could put in that address into Rome.
Okay.
That's census.gov/Rome. And it'll tell you exactly, it'll show you the streets that fall within that tract. And you
Okay.
can do that for any area, even outside of St. Clair Shores, outside of Michigan.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
People out there, answer these census questions, please.
So the postcard goes out. Tell me the next step. So the
You know, what I was going to talk a little bit about was the language. So what we have, and I'll bring the postcards into that as well.
Okay.
So the postcards come out on March 12th, and the postcards are going to have a numerical identifier for that address. And what a person will do is they'll go on to the website, 2020census.gov, they'll put in that unique identifier, and then they'll fill out their questionnaire from there. What that identifier does is it populates their address for them. So it takes that step away.
Gotcha.
Now, if they don't have that unique identifier, they can still go on and fill out the census. They just need to input their address information on there. And if they speak a different language and don't understand the questions that are being asked of them, there is a number on the postcard as well. They can call and they can select which language they need. We have guides in 59 different languages. We have 13 different languages with a live person who's there who can assist them.
And just for the residents here, because you talked about $650 billion, but for St. Clair Shores residents, a number of the money that comes from the state is based on the head count. So our state shared revenue is based on head count. Our road funding some of the road funding is based on head count. Matter of fact, our liquor license is based on head count, and I'm probably missing an item or two. But so when you factor in at least the first two, which is road money and state shared revenue, I think the state shared revenue is maybe $6 million, could be $6.5 million. It's something that, I mean, we're $8-9 million worth. So head count is extremely important to the community, to the local communities, as it is to the schools. But you're not in the census there, but you know about head count.
It is very important for the schools. We have our Head Start funding that comes out of those monies. There's tons of just home visiting programs, all kinds of different things for kiddos. Very, very
So
important.
it really matters to be counted.
Absolutely.
It really matters when you think you're sending it, you know, or maybe you have the idea that it's, I don't know, it's in the United States, who cares? But it comes back to the local community. It really comes to us. It's important to them, but it really is important to St. Clair Shores and the school system. Ms. Rusi.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned residents will be receiving a postcard that has a unique identifier. You go online, you enter in the identifier, you pull up the information that way. If a resident doesn't have access to a computer, doesn't feel comfortable utilizing one, are copies still available in paper form for them to fill out and use?
Yes, they will be eventually available in paper form. They are mailed a couple postcards first, and then they'll get the paper form. And then finally, an enumerator will come out to their home. So that's the final, you know, if they're not able to, the enumerator will count them.
Great, so there are other options and those may come later, but the postcard's the first step to get these things, this information filled out, correct?
Absolutely, but this is compatible with telephones too, cell phones. So they can go onto their cell phone and do the questionnaire as well.
Yep, I communicate with residents, you don't have an email address sometimes, so, people, I'm glad other opportunities will be available, and I wanted to make sure people know that those are coming too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So if they don't fill out the postcard, they will come out to the home, is that what you're saying?
Eventually, yes.
So that'll be, that'll be good. To fill it out.
Oh, definitely. We think that 95% are going to actually fill it out online.
There's nobody
That's our
out there
guess.
now walking around.
Not
Oh,
yet.
that's your target? That's what you think?
We hope so. We've never done this before. It's always been mail-in.
that'd be
First time
interesting.
online, so we'll see.
It was used to be a book.
Yeah, right.
So-
Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. I guess my question was, does our block grant money, when we talk about the neighborhoods?
Yes.
Because it goes by income in some cases, whether we can redo a street or whatever, so.
Yes.
For all of you who, and it's almost everybody out there who is asking if my street can get done, this is one way to help us figure this out in terms of where, some of the additional money that we have for street funding.
And it's a very good point. Not only street, Gaffney Park over the years was
Exactly.
part of CBG, and we used the funding to redo Gaffney
Exactly.
Park because it fell into the block grant
Yep.
area. So that's a good point.
So think of this like count day at school, right?
Yep.
Make sure everybody gets there on time and gets their card filled out, so,
Absolutely.
all right.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Item 2B is Reflections on Ice. They got a big event coming up here on March 20th through March 22nd. Claire? Come on up, or whoever. The center.
Weren't you guys just here a minute ago doing this?
Seemed like it.
It seems like it.
It does.
Come on in here. I'll read the proclamation, and then you can introduce everybody and say a few words. And proclamation for the 49th Annual Reflections on Ice Weekend, March 20th through March 22nd, 2020. Whereas the Mayor and Council of the City of St. Clair Shores deem it fitting and proper to publicly recognize and commend organizations dedicated to serving the youth of St. Clair Shores. The St. Clair Shores Figure Skating Club's Reflections on Ice show is being presented for the 49th consecutive year, featuring more than 100 local skaters ranging in age from 3 years old to adult from the St. Clair Shores Figure Skating Club and the St. Clair Shores Learn to Skate program under the direction of Clair Ledoux. Yes. Whereas guests will enjoy this year's themed event entitled A Night in Wonderland, which will include the St. Clair Shores Figure Skating Club's adaptation of the classic production with a creative twist on the music and the characters performed by our own accomplished skaters. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the City of St. Clair Shores do hereby proclaim March 20th through March 22nd, 2020 as Reflections on Ice Weekend, and wish the St. Clair Shores Figure Skating Club every success in this event and their year of skating. Congratulations on another year.
Thank you. So we have show dates in March coming up, March 20th through the 22nd. Our show is our show weekend. Like we said, it's an adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. It's our own take. So there'll be some twists and turns, and Miss Molly here, Molly Shalosky, she is a St. Clair Shores resident. She will be playing the part of Alice this year. And we also have Carly and Sophia and Alexa, and they're all skaters in the show and have been in the show for many years, right? Yeah, and they love it. And they come back every year, and we invite everybody to come see the show. It's a fun weekend, and the kids work really hard all year round, not just for the show. You know, most of these skaters are competitive throughout the year at a regional or sectional level. So the show is kind of like the fun downtime for them. You know, it's not as serious as a competition. It's supposed to be more fun. So you'll see group numbers of, groups of skaters. There'll be soloists. There'll be duets. And we're just excited to put it on every year. And we get a great turnout, and everybody supports us. And we're very thankful. Thanks for the proclamation every year. And
if you haven't come in the past, or you missed a few years, we're excited for one big reason. A partnership between the city and the Hockey Association has significantly improved the whole speaker system in both arenas.
Exactly.
Especially the bigger one.
Yeah.
And so we are excited to hear that. I mean,
It sounds amazing.
It
The
does.
music already is
Yes.
10 times as good as it usually is.
It was long
And we
overdue.
usually have to rent all that equipment for the show, the speakers, so we have our own in place this year, so
Yeah,
it's actually,
it's fantastic.
Yeah,
And again,
it's
it was a great partnership between the association and the city. So we are excited. I'm excited
Yeah,
to hear
you'll tell.
it.
You can tell.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you
oh,
really
yeah.
can. It's
really-
fantastic. So
Really great.
great. So, okay, so it's
So
the weekend of March 20th through the 22nd over at Civic Arena.
22nd at the Civic Arena, and you can buy tickets at the actual office there, the rec, Parks and Rec office at the front. If you go now and get them, I think you get like a $1 discount, or you can buy tickets at the door on the day.
Great. Come out and support
So, yes, please.
these girls. They do a lot of hard work, so we appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mayor, do you know if they're doing
Yes.
the special needs
Well,
Thursday
they
warm-up?
usually do, and the Shorewood Kiwanis usually does that event on Thursday. Yeah.
Come on up.
Yeah, come on up and say something, then you can hang on, because you got time coming right after. Announce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sharon Gwizdowski, the president for the Shorewood Kiwanis. I just want to say with the St. Clair Shores figure skating team, we also participate with them in a special needs adults and children's event on March 19th. The skaters put the show on, and so we'll probably have about 700 special needs children and adults enjoying your wonderful skating. Thank you.
It's fantastic. You might as well stay up here. So, second, we got the logo. Tiny, come on up here. This is the 2020 logo winner from Lakeshore School. So come on up, stand here, and I'll read you the proclamation. And then, of course, the Shorewood Kiwanis involved in just about everything around here. We got for that, and we got Cheryl Furdos, who is the chairperson of the St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade Committee. So she's going to say a few words. So she'll hold that while I read that. Let me read this. So proclamation in honor of 2020 St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade Logo Contest winner, Tynan Burns. Whereas the St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade is a time-honored tradition that commemorates the sacrifices made by our men and women serving in the United States of America Armed Services. The St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade Committee held their 9th annual logo contest, encouraging students from the 3 school districts to show their creative artist talents in honoring our armed services veterans in this year's logo design contest. Tynan Burns, a 10th grader at Lakeshore High School, was selected by the parade committee as the 9th annual logo contest winner. Tynan's entry was selected because of the unique design that incorporates the armed forces, stars and stripes, and a military flyover, all representative of this year's theme, a memorial tribute. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the City of St. Clair Shores, on behalf of all our residents and the St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade Committee, expresses their appreciation to Tynan Burns for his creative logo representation as the St. Clair Shores 68th Memorial Day Parade Logo Contest winner. Congratulations. Job done. Very well. Thank you. Oh, okay, well, if you're going to say something, you got to use this.
Well, my hands were full.
Okay.
This is the T-shirt with the design on it that Tynan entered.
Fantastic.
So this is for you. And also, for the first time, we are giving a plaque.
Oh, great.
Presented to Tynan Burns, Lakeshore High School, in recognition of the winning logo design for the 2020 SCS Memorial Day Parade, a memorial tribute. With appreciation, SCS Memorial Day Parade Committee.
All right.
I just want to talk a little bit about the logo. What you see up on the screen is the first initial design. And what we do is we encourage students to submit a design of what they feel the theme really means. And then when we select it, we ask them to finalize it and finish it so that it has a little clearer perspective. So, great job, Tiny.
Yeah, very good.
Nicely done. Way to go. Let's see the T-shirt.
Good evening. I'm the volunteer president for the Shorewood Kiwanis, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening. And I'm excited that we are continuing to carry on the tradition of the sponsorship donation for the St. Clair Shores Parade logo contest winner. That's a mouthful. And so on behalf of our club, we're pleased to donate a check to you, Tynan. And the Kiwanis, we're all about giving back to our community, our schools, our children, and our youth. So just, that was an awesome design. I thank you for your talents, the creativity, and on behalf of our club, this is for you, along with additional information about the Kiwanis. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Congratulations, job well done. The parade, of course, is May 24th,
Sunday, May 24th,
Harper Avenue,
Harper Avenue, 1 o'clock.
and the T-shirts will be for sale around the town.
We are not selling T-shirts.
We do not sell T-shirts this year. We have in the past, but not this year.
But
But
he will be.
So,
But we can make it happen.
so fantastic, appreciate it. Nice job. I know your dad's here, he's proud of you, and so is, you got members of the Lakeshore School Board and superintendent there, so excellent job. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Okay. Come, lady.
Tighten it up there, Mayor. Tighten it up.
Okay, you're in pictures now.
Okay, good.
Yeah. They're bulldogs.
Let's see. Good to see his dad. Shakes his hand. Says, nice job.
Mary, audience participation?
There are none this evening.
Okay.
It's a fly over.
Item 4A. Planning case, request for special land use for a drive-through at 20660 9 Mile Road. Justin, that's you?
I'm not Justin. My name's Derek Leary. I'm with Kimley Horn. We're the
Okay.
civil engineer who helped prepare some of the plans.
All right. So tell us about it a little bit here, about the special land use.
Yes, so the special land use approval is required for the drive-through on site. Then the second part of this agenda, then it has to do with the site plan approval. I'm really here to just help answer any questions or concerns you all may have. Liz and staff was super helpful during the whole process. We initially had a site plan where the drive-through was facing the road, and we worked with staff to get our main entrance now facing the road, shielding the drive-through, putting it on the south side of the site, away from the public right-of-way. Besides that, I'm here to answer any questions.
So Liz, this is Panera Bread. So this special land use, again, as we already said, for just the drive-through. You need the mic. Oh, sorry.
That's correct. The first part of this agenda item is just to approve the drive-through at this location. So as Derek indicated, they had submitted a plan where the drive-through was located on the other side of the building altogether, which didn't make for a great view along 9 Mile. So they changed it, so it is now facing the south side of the property, which is the interior. So it's exactly what we had requested.
Questions? Ms. Rusi?
No questions, just a comment. I never knew that this portion of the 9 Mile was called the Motor Mile. I never knew it had a name, the Motor Mile Corridor. So this drive-through, I think, is very appropriate for the Motor Mile Corridor, and I'll make a motion to approve the.
I'll support.
Moved by Councilwoman Rusi, supported by Councilman Asha. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All righty. And then 4B is the site plan for the, were they?
So we.
Just tell us a little bit about it. Just go over it. We got the pictures up there. You know, most want to
Sure. And
alert
so,
the audience and the people watching it what's happening here. That's the point.
sure. So we have 46 parking stalls on site for the Panera's use. It does share a drive aisle with the proposed Kroger. That's the most of the existing development, and then this is just part of the outlot. There is no new access drives. We're utilizing the Kroger drives and internal, so there's no new curb cuts to the road.
Okay.
We have two-way traffic on the right side of the site, where it goes to one-way just due to small site constraints that we're dealing with. We do have the drive-through on the left side of the site that goes around to the back. The actual pickup is on the right side. There is a 12-foot area of concrete on the north side of the building that would be used for patio, outdoor seating, when the weather allows.
Right.
And that's a quick summary.
Let's show us a picture of it.
And then the building is a all-brick building that was revised through plan commission comments and staff comments to meet code requirements.
And the timing for it all, if it was approved.
So they're looking at like a spring, summer construction start.
So be done with the Kroger right around the same time?
I'm not with Kroger or that development. This is Scott Marsh with Panera. He may have a better.
Good evening, council. Scott Marsh with Panera Bread. We're evaluating that right now as we speak with Kroger's representatives to determine if we want to get an early start and open before they do, or if we want to open at the same time they do. We're still going through internal, debates on that.
Okay, but the timing is close.
The timing is close.
Is it?
If anything, part of our department saying, let's start as soon as we get all of our approvals, which would be this, starting this summer.
Sure.
Others would be sitting on it until we get more feedback from Kroger and their timelines.
Okay. Questions? Mr. Vitale?
Only basically a statement. I mean, it's a beautiful plan, beautiful building. I think it's really going to bring some life to that corner again. Look forward to it. Wish you guys all the best. I think this shows, too, sort of the city's commitment to get good development, good quality development, and because there's a lot of talk about that from residents and over the last campaign and empty storefronts and things like this, and I think we've kind of held our ground, and this pays off with this good quality type of development. So I'm glad to see that. And I noticed, too, that this Panera Bread is 3,500 square feet. That's a pretty big building. So maybe the message is to some of those property owners that are holding on to the onesie, twosie, 1,000 square foot buildings that are obsolete, you better get together with your neighbor and sell those properties together if you want new development. But wish you guys all luck in the world. I'm sure you probably don't even need it, but I still wish it for you. That was all I had.
Sure. Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. Just thank you for choosing St. Clair Shores. The development looks great. It's a high-quality building. And it's funny, when I first heard Panera was coming, I put on my Facebook, I have a friend who's a city councilman. I went to school with him in another state, and he was all excited, talking about how great of a neighbor Panera is to the community and how involved they are in the community and how this is such a great thing for the city. He's from St. Clair Shores. So your guys' reputation is very good from what I've heard. So excited for this. I know you're talking about an outdoor seating area. What type of landscape you're going to use to buffer the traffic noise and everything for having it on such a busy street?
So there are existing parkway trees in the right-of-way now, and we would add all the trees that are required by code. We do have a landscape plan, it just though, I think it's outdated on the building rotation. But we would do every intention to kind of meet what is required for the outdoor patio area.
Right, and you want it to be successful, so you'll make it a comfortable place where residents will want to have a cup of coffee and hang out,
There
right?
are, on the site plan now, there are some proposed landscape planters too, right there by
Okay.
the concrete area as
Okay, so
well.
you'll be adding landscaping to make it a
Yes.
pleasant place to be. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Asha?
Yes, just thank you for coming to St. Clair Shores and motion to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Asha, supported by Ms. Rusi. Mr. Frederick?
Yeah, on the patio, is it going to look like the other Paneras? Like they have a small patio? And are you the owner then? Or will this be a corporate store or?
This is a corporate location.
Okay.
I'm the construction manager. So typically, and I haven't dove into these plans yet, but typically we have a railing for,
Right.
two needs. One, to keep the customers feeling like they're in a safe space. And
Right.
we do put bollards inside the railing so that if a car were to accidentally pull forward.
Okay, good.
We have structure there that'll protect the patio. And that's a good example of what we
Yep.
strive to. I don't know exactly what it'll be, but it'll be something along those lines as we get through the approval process.
All right, and the other question was, is this a change in color? Or is this just the color that happens to be on here that's not like the other?
Our designers keep it a little bit unique, so each store might have some variations to it.
Okay,
This is the original submittal that went to Planning Commission initially.
Okay.
So this has been revised. If you can see the, original is, so this was what originally was submitted. So they have revised their color scheme, and they've obviously revised the elevations somewhat as
all
well.
right, and are they going to need to go to Sinarb for some of the stuff that's not facing
For the stuff that's not facing, if we don't have the ordinance
changed by
revised
then? Okay, all right.
Probably.
And Councilman Rusi and myself and
Yeah.
our city manager are working on that diligently,
Right.
so we might save you
With Liz.
$50 or
With
something.
Liz.
Huh?
Is it with Liz?
Yes.
We're working on it with
And
Liz.
Liz, who's
Comes
giving
to
us
it,
great
your fault.
direction, so. Again, thanks a whole lot for picking St. Clair Shores. I know you got plenty of communities, and it's actually pretty close to one of the other stores, so, up on Masonic and Gratiot, I think, is another store. And is that a corporate store as well?
Yes, all of them in this area, they're all corporate, the Detroit
Okay.
area.
And then where's the next one? What's the next closest one besides?
We opened one in Clinton Township this
Okay.
spring. I don't know how far that is from here, and there's probably one closer.
Grosse Pointe.
Grosse Pointe?
It could
Yeah.
be.
All right, well, this is good.
Just opened another one, we'll be opening another one in Farmington Hills on Friday, which will be the latest and greatest. If you're driving by, want to see close what it will look like, it'll be similar to that.
Did you build that one?
Yes.
How long did it take you?
Well, I just did the TI, the inside part. The landlord, I don't want to speak for him, but they took longer than I'd like.
We don't all about that.
All right, well, you can stop. I just thought all right, whatever.
Have, if I do a full ground up and control the whole thing, about 160 days.
Okay.
Is
All
a
right.
long end. The landlords add to that as we deal with them, but
Yeah.
the inside usually takes 120 days.
So Scott, do you have the secret code so we can get more than a half an hour of Wi-Fi at lunchtime? Is that,
You can have Wi-Fi all day long.
All right,
You
now
can
you're
sit all
talking.
day long and no one will tell you to leave.
all right, you're the best. Thanks
That's
again.
moved by Mr. Asha, supported by Ms. Rusi. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Look forward to it. Item 5, request to amend the zoning ordinance to allow the zoning board of appeals to grant sale of seasonal goods and products over multiple years. I know we had a change to that. We sent that out. And that, why don't you speak to that first, Mr. Koppler? I know Mr. Kiernan, who's away, requested to make this change even at the last meeting.
Yeah, so the change that was made to this is removing those that are related to the more winter months, so snow shovels, ice melt, and I don't remember what the other item was, but
Antifreeze.
antifreeze, yes. So those were removed. We did insert shovels, so it's rakes and shovels now, since we felt that that was a little bit more appropriate for the timeframe of March to November.
This, I think, help out a lot of the businesses here, keep coming year after year. Questions?
Move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Asha, with a question by Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. So this is constraining to a period of 9 months from March 1st to November 30th. One of the examples of outdoor seasonal goods that this could apply to was bundled firewood, which people do utilize in the winter, but this only covers until November 30th. So if they want to seek permission to keep bundled firewood outside for a longer period, would that still require going another permit from the ZBA? I mean, how would that be handled? A lot of these things, live flowers, things like that are, you know, the nice months, but there are things like firewood that could be past the November 30th date.
So if that were the case, a business has a couple of options. The first one would be to ask for a permanent outdoor display area, and then they would be able to have essentially any of things on this list and additional other things as well in that outdoor area year-round. There's no reason why they also couldn't ask for a variance from December 1st to February 28th.
Yeah, but they would have to come back to that every year, though,
That
and
is
pay the
correct.
$300 every year for something like that. What about Christmas trees? Does this cover Christmas trees?
No, Christmas trees are
That's a
actually
separate-
totally separate.
Okay.
It's a separate license, it's a separate ordinance, so it does not count
Okay.
under here.
We might have to talk about that.
And that's something that I was actually struggling with the idea of allowing snow melt and snow shovels, because those things are marketed through the month of November. You know, who's to say, we would have snow in the middle of November as well. You know, they were given as examples. It doesn't mean you wouldn't be able to do
Right.
it. They
Right,
just
it's
didn't
not,
want
it's
to
a
have it called.
non-exhaustive list, and I think a
Correct.
non-exhaustive list obviously is a way to go, because it gives petitioners ideas about what types of products are covered by this ordinance. It gives the ZBA members guidance too as to where we were contemplating when we passed this type of ordinance. And give it an ordinance, like anything else, 4 votes, we can change it to as time goes on if we find that we need to touch this or other things to update it. So I think this is a good start, and thank you for your work on this, and thank you to Councilman Karen. This was a topic that's been coming up sporadically over the years, and I'm glad to see that finally some initiatives was taken, and thanks to Councilman Karen for that, and for you guys to make this update, which will help a lot of our businesses in the city.
Yeah, I think it will help them out a lot.
Thank you.
Mr. Frederick.
Yeah, you know, talking with numerous businesses, they've been asking for this forever. So really, really appreciate you guys stepping in and trying to make this happen. So on the firewood issue, because they still have to come one time to get the permission for 5 years.
Correct.
If they got a variance that night to allow them, you know, to have firewood throughout the year, would that be okay and covered under this ordinance?
I'm going to actually defer to Mr. Erie on that
Yes.
one.
Yes.
That was a very
There you
quick
go. That was
yes,
a
by the
quick
way,
answer,
yeah.
so.
All right, so that, just because I know you guys are at the meetings, so if somebody said, well, hey, can I leave the firewood out? You just add it, it's a friendly amendment of sorts. Okay, very good.
Mr. Vitale.
Actually, just one thing, and I think maybe the talk of firewood kind of brings this to mind. Some of these products like mulch, firewood example, shouldn't really be stored at ground level.
That's correct. They should
Okay,
be
so
on the ground.
they'll be made aware of that these need to be kept elevated off the ground, these
We
items?
can definitely make them aware of that, or make that part of the stock motion. We've done that with plenty of other sorts of stock variances that we
Okay.
that we
Yeah, I
give
think
out.
that would be wise to do, because we don't let residents do that, let
Right,
alone.
right.
Yeah, so, and the only other comment I'll make is to echo what Councilman Rusi and my other colleagues have said. This is an example of a good changed ordinance to be more business-friendly without compromising anything. I think this makes total sense, 100% support it, great idea.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Asha, to approve the request to amend the zoning ordinance to allow the zoning board of appeals to grant the sale of seasonal goods and products for up to 5 years. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 5-0. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Item 6 is request for approval of notice of intent and resolution for the 8.5-mile petition. This, of course, is the expansion of the whole Chapaton Basin.
Yes.
Mr. Koppler.
So we were
Matthew.
we were contacted by the Macomb County Public Works Office. Of course, they are moving towards the start of this project at some point, and are doing a lot of the different steps right now to get in place should they get the permits necessary. One of those is to start the work on delineating the drainage district for this. And so our part in this is we have to petition to let the county know that they and we are going to be delineating a drainage district to start the assessment for the share of costs that will be associated with that drainage district.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Asia. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. And just an update on that, I guess, or just a quick update. I mean, they being Macomb County Public Works, Candace Miller, they are working diligently with the state and EGLE to try to get that permit. We are working to get our permits. We're hoping to have them in the next week or two. We have also been working with the Macomb County Public Works regarding our expansion, and so we've been telling them what we're doing, which is, how we want to increase the boat launch and those kinds of things, and the pavement and the seawall. So we are working with them. I think if Public Works Commissioner Miller was here, she'd say it seems like it's taking forever, and because we had hoped we'd have these permits now, and maybe we could start working here. But we're moving the best we can. I know we are, and I know she is, but the state and quite frankly, EGLE is the problem. So that's the update. Anything else, Matt? Item 8 is the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Updates and follow-ups from the prior meetings. City Manager Matt Koppler.
Go through these quickly. Councilmember Vitale asked about water meters. I know there was a number of, or at least one email going back and forth regarding when those, what the cost was, and we're also looking to see if it's possible just to change the battery pack on those, and I don't think we have an answer on that one. Also, was brought up about the driveway approach on the 13-mile side there on the Shores Shopping Center. And again, we're going to be sending a notice to them to get it replaced by May 1st. And we also had the report about the water coming up through the pavement at the area of Larchmont and Grant. I know that they've been looking at that, and I think you may have been out there. And
Yeah, I'll mention something on that. I actually, Mr. Ray's sent me a message to try to pin down the exact place, and it happened to be in my car at that moment, and I drove to the place and met with the person who worked for DPW, talked to a resident on the street to see if they had seen the water issue. We couldn't turn anything up. So I guess all I can say is I live in this area. I'll make sure I keep an eye out for it myself. But on that particular day, we did not see any water coming up through the street. So.
And DPW will also keep an eye on it as well, is what I'm told. The resident on the old 8 Mile Road requested additional police patrols, which that's been added to the list for extra patrols. We had the question about the Macomb County Animal Control contract, and we had an answer that the contract does not specifically say anything regarding injured wildlife.
And I forwarded you some additional correspondence on that from several years ago, and I looked up the contract. It doesn't actually define animal control services at all, it just says animal control services, so I think we need to have some additional dialogue regarding what that is, because at least as of 2017, the answer I had gotten was a little bit different.
And I think as we progress with our contract talks, once I re-engage those again, I think we'll explore maybe a little bit tighter language that includes that.
Yeah, because you saw the correspondence I forwarded you regarding what the answer was at that time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Then we had a number of requests from Councilman Karen regarding DTE converting major streetlights. We have reached out to our contact to get some estimates and what the next steps are for that. Ask about the status of the sewer project at City Hall. And I know that they're working to try to get this done. I don't think we got the new, I'm looking over at you, Chris.
They were supposed to have it open today. They almost made it. They're going to have a street sweeper here tomorrow, and the road will be open and then just closed intermittently while they finish the last bit of the work.
And why we talk about that, I mean, we're going to redo this whole parking lot. So this area, I mean, it will not be, in essence, fixed this year. I mean, there's going to be a lot of work over here. So one project's going to lead into another. I guess that's my point, right, Mr. Reyes?
That is correct.
I mean, when do we anticipate?
Well, the bids are due on the 17th for the parking lot, so it probably won't be till first part of May. We actually see construction late April.
But it's coming.
Depending. It's coming.
It's coming. It'll be part of the summertime here. So, yes, sir.
Then there was also a question about the erosion that's happening along the pathway at Veterans Memorial, and we're going to be talking about that at the March 21st meeting, and we do have some different evaluation or options presented by HRC on that. We'll be talking to Mayor and Council about. And Councilman Karen also asked about the road construction on I-94 scheduled for 2021. Harper is scheduled for repair fall 2020, so hopefully there won't be that much of a conflict.
Just a couple other ones. We've been out to Dollar General, Mr. Reyes.
We've been out there and we've been collecting their carts for being in violation, and we have a number of their carts waiting for them to pay to get them back.
All right. Well, I mean, I know we heard a laugh, but I mean, we have given them more than enough notice, so.
We've met in person, we've written tickets.
Yes,
We've
so-
gone every possible way to try and get them to comply, and this is our last resort.
Yes, okay.
Just one, can I ask something?
Yes, sir.
How many of their carts do we have? I mean,
I'd have to get you a count, but we've been out
at
there.
some point, can
a
we
couple of
start
times.
charging them storage? I mean, we shouldn't have to keep their carts. I'm assuming probably DPW is sitting on them.
The contractor that collects them has them in his yard.
With written notice.
Okay.
Well, if it gets long, Mr. Vitale, we'll work with Mr. Erie to
aluminum.
to do that.
Yeah. I mean, they may be such a big company, they consider them practically throwaways for all I know, and they don't care.
Yep.
Abandoning their cart.
All right. An update, do you have an update on St. Margaret's?
I do. We were in court today on that matter. The personal representative or the attorney for the personal representative that owns the house asked the probate court for permission to abandon the house. And the probate judge indicated that until the time period for filing an insurance claim, which is around mid-April, the judge would not allow the estate to abandon the home. Also present was the attorney for Wells Fargo property maintenance person, and it appears as if they may be giving up their interest in the property, but that has not been finally determined yet. As an update on what happened since the last council meeting, because on two separate occasions there was a dumpster at the home, and people were removing items from the home ostensibly on a work order from Wells Fargo, but the property manager said he has no idea where that work order came from. It wasn't from him, so that has ceased. Nobody's removing anything at this point from the home. So essentially the case moves forward closer to demolition. Wells Fargo property manager asked if there was any possibility that the city would agree to some type of a repair. We indicated that that was impossible. We explained all that had happened, and they appear to be accepting our position that it will not be allowed to be rehabbed. So it moves forward. That's an update as of today.
It's a little on hold till after the mid-April.
Mid-April.
Yes. A question on that?
Yes.
Just the economics of that, I'm surprised that they were really, because there would be more money put into that house in repairs than it would ever net back out to sell. Were they really interested in trying to repair that?
Well, Wells Fargo is, where are they located in?
California.
Yeah, are they California?
Nevada, probably, Las
I
Vegas.
can't recall, but no, it's not a rehabitable piece of property, and they need, Wells Fargo needs their property manager to tell them that. Also, the city has its own motion to enter a default judgment against Wells Fargo because they haven't responded to our complaint. So that is likely going to happen. We have no indication that they're intending to answer our complaint, so we're moving toward ultimate resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Frederick?
On this topic, I know that we had some discussions with the daughter and about the ability for her to go in and get some of the items that were personal. Where are we at on
Yeah,
that?
I'm not sure she was going to go in. She maybe wanted to look as it came out.
Okay, well, I mean, are we arranging that for her in some way?
No, that is, the city is really not involved in that. That is an issue between the family's personal representative of the
Okay.
deceased estate and the children, and
All right, well, I was
They
just
should
worried
be
the fact that
communicating.
the two dumpsters that showed up and some stuff was in there, if that was,
well, I climbed up on the dumpster and looked into it. In fact, I took a picture if you want to see it. There was very little in the dumpster.
Okay.
A couple of junky pieces of furniture
Okay.
but nothing else.
And I would say just that, I was made aware of it, Mr. Erie was over there twice, very quick, and so was the police department. So
Okay, all right.
we moved very quick.
so items that
But
she might.
thank you to the neighbors.
Right.
That keep an eye on everything, and that's,
Yes.
having the eyes and ears, because we can't always be everywhere, and so they made the call and email to me, and I made it to Mr. Erie, and we were out there quickly.
Excellent.
What's your hourly rate for climbing into a dumpster?
Dumpster diving.
You know what, he likes to do this.
He's a full-service city attorney. We appreciate how he gets
Very
involved
hands-on.
way beyond what he does up at this council table.
Yeah, well,
Because he's working on another strange one, it's a peanut issue, but we won't go into that, but
Don't go into that.
we are working on
Yes, we
another,
are,
we are,
yes.
and it's a fact, we are, so we got a
Thank
lot
you,
of things
Bob.
going on around
Yeah,
here.
thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
The next two more is lead service line, and Mr. Babcock's not here, but I believe the date is March 9th. We hope to we'll be working March 9th. That's what DPW has indicated to us, Matt, right? That,
Yeah, that may be pushed back 1 week, though.
right, well, that'd be March 16th
Yes.
then. But we are working together. We have homes ready to go. We've got them signed in those forms. So, I mean, we're moving along.
First. We are right now, we're going out and taking the photographs, the videos of the homes and ascertaining where everything's located so we can get the contractors' first group here very shortly.
And then the last one, you will see council coming up here on consent agendas as we had last year. It is the emergency order that we had for the water, right? That we haven't had that yet, but I think we probably did it maybe last June, but we think maybe a little earlier. They expire every 30 days, so you will see it consistently on the consent agenda. I just thought I would tell everyone we want to be prepared. We don't think we have anything this moment, but just so that we are prepared as we go along, we're evaluating all that. So that will come again on the consent agenda. It's just the emergency order, and it's required. Good? With that, we will move by comments by individual council members. Mr. Vitale.
Well, actually, I think everything's kind of been wrapped up. I guess in terms of ongoing issues, I'll maybe mention one thing since it's sort of a plug for a semi-local business. Some of you remember that was 2 council meetings ago that I had a sling on after some shoulder surgery, and if anyone was interested, I am very well recovered under the care of my orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Paul Schreck, who I thought did a fantastic job. And I had just a dull pain for about 18 months that never really went away. And it's been resolved, and it's finally great to sit up here and be pain-free. I know that one of our residents is a receptionist, so I'll say hello to her, and highly recommend his services.
Thank you. Mr. Isha.
Thank you. A few weeks ago, Matt, I was in your office where I called you about that Joy Street the park at the end of the street, has anything come of that on the taxes? Who's paying it, or if it is?
Is that in the water?
Yeah, there's that park at the end.
Yeah.
I ran into, one of the people that I talked to on it. It was 4 of them at the meeting we were at, and they said they haven't heard anything from the city, and I was
Yeah,
just
let me look
curious.
into that.
Yeah.
I don't have anything right now.
At least a
but-
phone call, too,
Yeah.
would be nice.
Okay.
Alrighty.
And and on the coyotes, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was watching a show, they said, they're very territorial. If you hang a rag on your fence, put a little ammonia on it, it pushes them off. So, I'm not sure, but on the show, it seemed to be what they would do to get them away from, people's houses. So I thought I'd just put that out there, and that's about it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. Just one quick, an announcement, I guess. Went to the Lakeshore Quarterback Club Taste Fest fundraiser yesterday. It was the 11th annual one, I think they said, and it was just a really well-attended event by participants, by the entrants, by just people who wanted to help support the quarterback club and have a nice afternoon. This is one of my favorite events every year. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of involvement. We had so many St. Clair Shores businesses and restaurants there, and it wasn't just St. Clair Shores businesses, but we had businesses like Pops and Cold Call, Baffin, Dragon's Meat, Journey's End, Shores Tequileria there with all their food and their drinks, and you pay one fee to get in, and then you get to sample from every table you want to. And it's just a really well-run event. The kids are working from the football program. You have all the staff there, you have all the parents there, and it takes a lot of work to put this event on. Huge raffle baskets. It's such an impressive event. It's such a great time every year. If you didn't go, look into it next year. It's a lot of fun. You will leave stuffed. I was a judge. I had to eat everything and drink everything, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a lunch, dinner, breakfast, everything for $15 if you pre-buy your ticket, and it's all to support a great cause. And it's to support some good businesses too, because you will try things that you may never try before you want to go there. So just congratulations to the Lakeshore Quarterback Club and all the parents and staff and the kids in the program for putting on another really, really great Taste Fest fundraiser. So, and check it out next year. To the residents, if you weren't there yesterday, you'll want to come next year. So, thank you.
A question for you, because Mr. Kieran isn't here. When is the Relay for Life, the pizza?
That's tomorrow.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Okay,
tomorrow.
tomorrow at Jefferson.
Yep, tomorrow, doors open at 6, it goes till 8, Pizza Palooza, Jefferson Middle School. I think it's $8 to get in. It all goes to support the Relay for Life of the East Side, so for the American Cancer Society. And last year, if you said the name of a team you were there to support, the money was then attributed to that team. SES Striking Down Cancer, that's my team.
Okay.
Shameless plug, thank you, Kip.
No problem. Well, Mr. Kieran would want it, he would have done it, so
Thank you.
sure. Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. First off, that was a great event. I was there briefly, and a lot of great people there. A lot of familiar faces every single year. And the kids, not only the football team, but from what I understand, the music was by the kids
7
as
days
well.
a year.
So I hope everybody had a great leap day. Every time you see that, and March comes right next to it, so it's almost like spring is around the corner. We're pretty excited. We had a thing with the parade coming up, so that's always sort of the beginning of summer as well. So hopefully, with the good weather, we won't see any more snow. I hope I didn't jinx it. So
You're right.
with that, we've got the Lenten season upon us, and the church fish fries are in full swing. And I'll just remind everybody that St. Germain's, Our Lady of Hope, has one, as well as St. Isaac's, which I think I ran into the mayor last Friday over at St. Isaac's, as well as Mr. Rubello. And also St. Margaret's does it, and I know the Bruce Post has a good one as well. So If you're out and about, support the local fish fries. All that money stays pretty much in the community, helps the churches and helps the Bruce Post, so appreciate you doing that. Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the library. A lot of things are going on. If you're interested in that science, technology, engineering, art, and math, which we've been claiming to call STEAM, stories are starting on March 7th from 2 to 3. Listen to a story and explore the related hands-on activities. This program is for kids ages 6 to 10 and their adult companion. Registration is required, and that has already started. So if you want to register, call the library at 586-771-9020, extension 1573. I think there's still a few spots available. We're also celebrating March is Reading Month. So when an item is not on the shelf, the library places that item on hold for patrons. So if you think you know how many holds that we've done through all of 2019, everyone's welcome to guess. And each time you visit the library during the month of March, you can make a guess. To guess, you fill out a slip located at the circulation desk and place it in the guessing jar, located right there as well. And you can also add a link to the paper chain every time you check out during the month. So let's see how long we can make that paper chain. Links will be available at the circulation desk. It's snowing in the library, not really, but we'll be having some snowy fun on March 16th, and that's on a Monday, 6:30 p.m. until 7:30 in the Gilsdorf Meeting Room for a snowy day story time. Join us for snowy stories, shredded paper snow play, wax paper ice skating, snowy games, edible snowballs. Registration is not required for this free program. So, story time returns the week of March 23rd. Preschool story time is for independent listeners, ages 3.5 to 5, and that's on Mondays at 10 a.m. Toddler story time, which is at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays, is for kids 2 to 3.5, and then they require their caregiver to be with them, and that does require registration, which starts on March 9th. Family story time is for kids of all ages, and it takes place at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. No registration for that for preschool or family story time. Please join us for these free, fun-filled programs of stories, music, and a craft. And then the Friends of the Public Library here will meet for their monthly book discussion on Wednesday, March 11th at 1 p.m. The book is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. Everyone is welcome to this free event. And the Friends of the Library are also accepting gently used jewelry, scarves, purses, hats, and gloves. So when you go in, clean out that closet, clean out that top drawer that you got all that stuff kind of crammed in there, right? Take it over to the Friends of the Library, and what they do is they will sell it, and a lot of that money goes right back into everything that we're doing over there at the library. This donation bin for that is located in the Reading Lounge. Sale will take place on Friday and Saturday, March 13th and 14th, so get those items over there as quickly as you can. And those hours are noon to 4 p.m. on Friday and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. So a lot going on at the library.
Excellent, thank you. City Manager report, Mr. Koppler?
Just had one item. Just a reminder, on March 26th, we'll be hosting the High Water Preparedness Meeting. It's going to be at 7 p.m. at the Senior Activity Center.
Again, announce the date and time again.
It's going to be March 26th, which is a Thursday, 7 p.m. at the Senior Activity Center.
High Water.
Correct.
Thank you. Item 12 is audience participation. Do we have anyone? The views and opinions expressed under the audience participation, not the views of the mayor, city council, or the administration. Mr. Rubello, your name and the city you reside in.
Dave
It was
Rubello's-
50 today. It was 50 today. I'm not sure you needed a scarf, but continue.
It was in my car, and if I don't wear it, it's gonna stay there till probably May. So I wanted to put it on.
Thank you.
Dave Rubello, City of St. Clair Shores. As you saw a little bit earlier, the St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade, which is on Sunday, May 24th. And what I'm after, I help do the participants of the parade. And what I'm really after right now at this point, that parade is probably about 85–90% done already. So we've been working hard. I am after vets of St. Clair Shores, anybody that would like to participate, individuals or a group for vets of St. Clair Shores. So we're after that, especially Korean War vets, okay? We just seem to, I don't know, we have a difficult time getting Korean War vets. So I'm specifically after that. we'd like to feature them in our St. Clair Shores Parade. And as well as that, I'd like to put a call out there for anyone with convertibles that are for use for a parade. You got a convertible, Peter? Awesome. Okay, and
Dave?
that's what we're after.
T-tops too?
T-tops are good. You're the car guy, so we're counting on you to get a few.
You got a Jeep, don't you?
I do.
So again, vets, we're looking for St. Clair Shores vets
Put 'em on the spot.
that'd like to participate in a parade and convertibles. All right, thank you, Mayor.
Sorrell, thank you. It's coming quick. It's March. Item 13, mayor's comments. Mary, any update on voting?
Absentee ballots are running at, today we hit 9,120, which is 82% higher than 4 years ago in the presidential preference primary. We've exceeded. If a voter, if their candidate that they voted for has dropped out of the race, if they would like their ballot that they've turned in already, a new one, they need to write a letter and sign it and get it to my office. They can email that written request, they can take a picture of it, email it to us, drop it in the white drop box in front of City Hall. Remind voters absentee ballots have to be returned to the clerk's office before the polls close on Election Day. Use of the white drop box in front of City Hall is a perfect idea. This Saturday before Election Day, we're open from 8 to 4 for absentee voting. As well, the deadline to apply and get an absentee ballot is at our counter next Monday up until 4 o'clock, the day before the election. And if you're not registered to vote and have lived in the city for 30 days, you can register up until the polls close on Election Day at my counter.
All right, thank you. The last item will be the Hall of Fame, which will take place this Sunday. So again, it is the Hall of Fame. We haven't had one in 2 years. The last one we had was 2018. It's an induction banquet. It will be at Blossom Heath this Sunday, starting at 1 o'clock. Admission, I think, is $35. Yep. So again, Sunday, March 8th, 1 to 4, Blossom Heath Inn, Hall of Fame. The inductees, again, are Mr. Greg Essler, Don Frederick, Ron's brother, Dave Grouser, Cynthia Lambert, Nair, and the St. Clair Shores 1980 Pony All-Star Team. So again, it's a great event, great food, beer and wine included with your ticket. So again, you get a good meal. It's an enjoyable time. If you've been there in the past, come again. If you came to see someone else, support these new members here. This will probably be still every 2 years now, so the next one won't be till 2022. Again, this Sunday, March 8th, at Blossom Heath, 1 to 4. Inductees Greg Essler, Don Frederick, Dave Grouser, Cynthia Lambert, and the St. Clair Shores 1980 Pony All-Star Team. So look forward to seeing people there on Sunday. And with that, motion to adjourn would be in order.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Good night.
Speaking of that,